There is someone you know right now who looks completely ordinary. They are not fearless or always motivated. They still get distracted and have bad days. From the outside, nothing about them looks unstoppable. But something has changed. They are becoming harder to break, harder to distract, and harder to remove from the path they chose. Most people think mental strength looks intense. They imagine someone who wakes up at 5 o'clock every morning, never doubts themselves, never misses a workout, and never feels tired. That is not mental strength. That is a fantasy. Real mental strength is quieter. It shows up before the money, before the confidence, before anyone notices. And to explain it, I want you to imagine someone going through this transformation. 2 years ago, this person was constantly restarting their life. New routines, goals, and promises. Every Monday felt like a fresh beginning, and every Thursday felt like proof that they had failed again. But slowly, their responses started changing. Their life still looked average. Their results were still small. But these 7 signs showed that they were quietly becoming mentally unstoppable. The first sign was that they stopped negotiating with every emotion. They still woke up tired. They still felt anxious before difficult work. The difference was that they stopped treating every feeling like an instruction. Before, if they felt unmotivated, they waited. If they felt uncertain, they researched. If they felt overwhelmed, they escaped. Now they noticed the emotion and continued anyway. They did not pretend the feeling was gone. They just stopped asking it for permission. That is one of the first signs of mental strength. You realize emotions are information, not commands. You can feel tired and still begin. You can feel doubt and still publish. You can feel uncomfortable and still stay. The feeling stayed. The obedience disappeared. The second sign was that bad days stopped becoming bad weeks. They still failed. They missed workouts, wasted evenings, and wrote terrible scripts. Sometimes they broke the promises they made to themselves, but they stopped extending the failure. Before, one missed day became a story. They would say, "I already ruined the week. I will restart Monday." That sentence cost them months. Now, if they missed the morning, they restarted in the afternoon. If they skipped one workout, they returned the next day. If they lost focus for 2 hours, they did not sacrifice the remaining 6. They learned that resilience is not measured by how rarely you fall. It is measured by how quickly you return. Mentally weak people turn mistakes into identities. Mentally strong people turn mistakes into corrections. They still had bad days. They just stopped building homes inside them. The third sign was that boredom stopped feeling like a reason to quit. At first, every goal was exciting. Learning a skill, starting a channel, and planning a transformation felt exciting. Then came repetition. The same desk, workout, blank document, and slow progress. That was where they used to switch directions. They thought boredom meant the path was wrong. But boredom was not an exit sign. It was proof that novelty had ended and real training had started. So they stayed. They wrote when the idea felt ordinary. They trained when the workout felt repetitive. They practiced when there was no emotional reward. Most people are not defeated by difficulty. They are defeated by sameness. They can survive pain for a week. They cannot survive repetition for a year. They learned to stay after the excitement disappeared. That made them dangerous. The fourth sign was that they needed less external validation. They used to announce everything: a new routine, business idea, fitness goal, or identity. The attention felt like progress, but it was replacing progress. So they became quieter. They stopped explaining what they were building. They stopped checking whether people approved. They stopped using social media to prove that they were changing. Instead, they collected private evidence: a finished workout, a published video, a week without quitting, a promise kept when nobody was watching. That evidence began to matter more than praise. This is what happens when your identity becomes internal. You stop needing witnesses for every act of discipline. You no longer ask, "Do people think I am serious?" You ask, "Did I do what I said I would do?" They did not become antisocial. They became less dependent on applause. The fifth sign was that doubt still spoke, but it no longer voted. They still compared themselves. They saw people younger than them making more money. They saw creators growing faster. They saw friends moving ahead. The voice in their head said, "You are behind. This is not working. Pick something easier." Before, that voice controlled their schedule. Now they heard it and kept working. They realized confidence was not silence inside the mind. Confidence was choosing which voice had authority. Doubt could speak, fear could speak, comparison could speak, but they did not get to decide what happened next. This is the difference between people who build a life and people who keep imagining one. Both feel uncertainty. Only one group keeps moving while uncertainty is present. The sixth sign was that they started designing around their weaknesses. They stopped pretending they would suddenly develop unlimited willpower. They knew they checked their phone when work became difficult, so they left it in another room. They knew they skipped the gym after work, so they trained before the day became complicated. They knew they overthought every decision, so they created simple rules. No social media before noon, right before researching, prepare the next task the night before. They did not become stronger than temptation. They made temptation harder to reach. That is real self-awareness. Weak people often protect their ego by denying their weaknesses. Strong people study their weaknesses and build systems around them. They stopped asking, "Why can't I control myself?" They asked, "How can I make the correct action easier?" Their environment began carrying discipline when motivation disappeared. The seventh sign was that they stopped needing immediate proof. This was the hardest one. For months, their work produced almost nothing visible. Their videos had low views. Their body changed slowly, and nobody called them disciplined. But they continued. They stopped measuring every day by results and started measuring it by alignment. Did they practice? Did they publish? Did they train? Did they return after failure? That became enough. Immediate proof is addictive because it protects you from uncertainty. But meaningful progress often stays invisible for a long time. Roots grow before the tree appears. Skill grows before the opportunity appears. Discipline grows before confidence appears. They understood that delayed evidence was not the same as no progress. 2 years later, people started calling them lucky. Their channel had grown. Their body looked different. They spoke with more calmness. They finished what they started. To everyone else, the change looked sudden. It was not sudden. It began when they worked while tired. When one bad day stopped becoming 7. When boredom stopped controlling them. When praise became optional. When doubt lost voting rights. When their environment became stronger than their excuses. When they continued without proof. That is what becoming mentally unstoppable actually looks like. It does not mean you never struggle. It does not mean you become emotionless, fearless, or perfect. It means your emotions, failures, boredom, doubts, weaknesses, and slow results gradually lose their ability to remove you from the path. You still bend. You just stop staying broken. And one day, people will look at your results and think you became unstoppable overnight. But you will know the truth. You became unstoppable quietly every time you returned.